Hello, we are here again in our show, Like a Bundle of Reeds, with Dr. Michael Leitman. Hello, Dr. Leitman. With us in the studio for the first time, and we hope that you will be with us in many more shows, Masha Shovich. She's a political analyst. Well, she analyzes all kinds of things that have to do with politics and current affairs, etc. And with her extensive experience as far as Europe is concerned, as far as Jews are concerned, we hope to really analyze everything that has to do with the essence of Jewish life, the role of Jews, and especially, which is relevant today, the heightening anti-Semitism and why it's happening and the solution to it. Dr. Leitman, in previous shows, we went pretty deep into what it means to be Jewish, where it comes from, what does this concept mean. We talked about Jewish life in Israel as opposed to Jewish life in the diaspora. We've reached, I would say, a pattern that says that the diaspora Jews have a very important role to play today, specifically because of the increasing anti-Semitism, in that where they're kind of ambassadors, disseminators of unity. So we would like to ask, actually to focus on that today. Jewish life today overseas. Let's say that we have a blank board in front of us. How do you build Jewish life in the current context of today's situation?
First of all, nonetheless, we should try to save whatever we can still save. It's not the same community that was there 20, 30 or moreover 50 years ago. Back then, there were truly strong communities where the parents were very much connected to the community and the children, more or less, were also connected. We've gone through several generations still since then of disconnection, truly disconnection from the community. And if nowadays we have a JCC or some other club, actually, and we see it also according to the statistics, how much the average Jew, let's say, in the United States feels some connection to Judaism, or he feels some connection to the Jewish organizations, the community. If once, at least 3 times a year, they would show up at the synagogue for some event, they would come to the nearby JCC. Nowadays, well, somehow it does exist, but it doesn't exist. So we see that assimilation is increasing, and in general there is no interest in Judaism, and there's no interest in Israel, and there's even some hostility towards Israel, since the Jews feel that Israel is as if hurting their status wherever they live, where they are, because they see that the external public, meaning the nation that they're in, where they live, does not respect Israel, and therefore they have a problem. Who should they be loyal to, as if? Either Israel or that place, that country where they are. And out of that, out of the pressure that they feel upon themselves, they prefer also to punish Israel for the way that it behaves, and in general really for existing. So if the nations of the world, the Goyim, punish Israel and the Jews out of the anti-Semitism in them, the Jews punish Israel because they are anti-Israel, because it really disturbs their living wherever they are.
They feel now that Israel has become something that hurts them.
Because it appears negative in the eyes of the public that is around them.
We talked in previous talks, you told me something very interesting about the newspaper Der Spiegel that you have at home.
Yes, I have. Yes, we were speaking about this yesterday. I have the German paper, the Spiegel from 1967, where they're reporting about the Six-Day War, actually, and the reporting is so positive. You wouldn't believe it. Not so many years have passed, but the Germans talk "Sie rollen." They talk about the Israeli tanks rolling in with some identifying with it with pride. It's something today you can't even imagine happening. How can there be such a sudden change of attitude? And also with the Jews living abroad, how can we explain it? Maybe really, how much are we really dependent on
Of the public that
the
we're in,
public's opinion,
we totally
the
depend on
nations
it.
of the world opinion?
You lived for many years in Germany, and I lived for many years in the Soviet Union. And we have a clear understanding of how much the public affects us. So, God forbid, I'm not blaming the Jews that live in the United States, for example, for gradually changing their opinions. It's necessary for them to change their opinions.
But how can it be such a significant change in
Within
such
20
a
or 30
short
years,
range of
nonetheless, it
time?
did happen. Well,
Why?
it happened because of politics and the work of the mass media, and the ego of all the nations is increasing, and anti-Semitism is on the rise, because Israel are also not performing their duty, their role as they should, and all of these things together, since they're all interconnected, they roll like a snowball.
I have to bring it another time. I ran into an excerpt by Rav Kook, who passed away in 1935.
Yes.
80 years ago or so. And he writes, I can't remember it precisely, but the meaning of what he says is this, more or less. The nations of the world are right in not wanting Jews to be in Israel because the Jews in Israel are not doing their job. I don't remember exactly when he wrote it, but he passed away in 35.
Yes.
By that, they are helping us, he writes, to pinpoint the fact that our purpose of being in Israel is not to be here physically, but to do our spiritual task for which we're here.
So those people are right that say that we shouldn't have
should have come here,
arrived
certainly, and we were given the opportunity to come here, but in order for us to do our duty. The whole problem is that we are not doing here what we should be doing. If indeed we would be giving an example to humanity, how it should appear in our days, if we were the light for the nations, certainly they would have related us differently. I'm not blaming the nations of the world for hating Israel. I'm saying that actually Israel has to get better and to fulfill their role.
So let's go back for a second to those same Israelis abroad, because it's really a subject that's really interesting for us and our viewers. You said that we need to be a light unto the nations, etc. We spoke about it. How should the Jewish life, we began talking about how the Jewish community has to look there, the Jewish community to be a light unto the nations.
First of all, we need to bring them the new method of education. As much as it may seem that it's for little children and not for grown-ups, solid adults. However, they need to know what is our role in the world, what do we live for, the reason for anti-Semitism, the origin of the people of Israel, the role of the people of Israel, what does it mean to be the light for the nations, what is the true Judaism, the right one, what is the Torah of truth, and towards what are we advancing? Truly, both in the upcoming years, what is the reason for this crisis that we are now entering? The whole world is in that, and there is no way out of it. Whatever they may tell us, we are continuing within the same crisis, and it is deepening more and more. We're just trying to cover it up, just like a patient, that if we don't have a cure for him, then at least for the pain we give him some sort of a drug, a painkiller, but nonetheless he's deteriorating into a terminal state. And this is what our world is like. And here the problem is specifically with us, because we are the masters of the method for the correction of the world, and we have to bring this correction, show it in practice how it is working on us, and in that we have to be the light for the nations and show it to everyone, and we are not doing that. And even we ourselves don't want to acknowledge it. And the people of Israel in the land of Israel is also feasting, celebrating over what? So we have a great work before the whole people of Israel everywhere in the world, both in the land of Israel and overseas. We need to know where we are. And the nations of the world don't have to be accountable to anyone. We are on the crosshairs with respect to all the nations of the world. Anti-Semitism is growing and it will shut us in, and it won't help us to try and change our names and disappear somewhere in the world. It's not going to work. We have to realize that here there is an issue of a very clear providence on behalf of nature, that indeed we inside of us are carrying some spiritual gene that we have to bring out and show the whole world how we should really be living and reach love thy friend as thyself. All of us, truly all of us.